Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? This is Todd from Table Ready Podcast, and we're just going to get up on here for a little bit of discussion for Warhammer 40K. And of course, anybody that doesn't know, um, it's been a busy month in December. Okay, not just the standard stuff that's going on, but of course, this week, well, let's start at the beginning of the month. Beginning of the month, they started with the Grotmas calendar. And as far as the Grotmas calendar is concerned, we are now on day 15 of this calendar. And what this means is there's been a new detachment for for all the factions that they've done so far, for every day this month. And I really wanted to take time and go over each and every one of them. But to be honest with you, there's a lot of information there. A lot of information. So and of course, before I get too excited here, when I was starting to plan this all out and get everything going, and I wanted to go over all the individual factions and what was good and what was bad, and how you could play each of the factions. Unfortunately, at this point, it's a hell of an undertaking to get that all done. So what I did want to do instead of that is this week the balanced data slate came out, and I think I want to go over some of that. And of course, this ended up being a pretty big balanced data slate, not only the points, but some of the stuff that goes into it. So even some core rule changes, and I think I'm just going to just kind of touch on everything, and then we'll circle back to all these detachments. And I think like at some point I want to go back and I want to go over detachments for different some of the different factions as we go over the factions themselves. But these are I'd like to kind of touch on some of the ones that were just index, so that meaning that they finally have a second detachment to play with. What I want you to do, if you haven't looked yet, look at the Warhammer community website, check it out. If there's a faction that you play, look to see if yours have been updated. I'm just going to do a quick list of each of them just to kind of give you an idea of what has come out and in what day. So we're just going to get started here, and then like I said, we're going to kind of focus down on the data slate and some of the points that have changed. So just to dive right in, let me see if I get this. So one of the biggest things that of course has changed is the stratagems that allow you to move close up setup. Yes, allow a closer setup to for range. So literally anything that used to be you have to be 3 inches away, like your Inceptors. I think Raptors were that way as well, and there was a couple other stratagems that really kind of focused down on that. Denizens of the Warp, Cosmic Precision, they've changed that to 6 inches. I don't think that's really hurting anything, and I think that's really just a cleanup rule. Yeah, you're gonna need 6 inches on a charge if you're gonna, or I don't. For most of the stuff you're bringing in, you're not really going to be jumping into close combat that first turn, anyways. So 6 inches, I think that's just fine. I don't think it really hurts the game at all. I think it really just kind of prevents stealing of of objectives and stuff like that, and you're gonna really have to play it a little bit better. I think it's fine. I think it's actually a really good rule in general. Other than that, the next one is anything that worsens an armor penetration. So if the stratagem has an effect that says until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets your unit, worsens the armor penetration characteristic by 1. The biggest one, of course, is armor contempt or anything that works that way. It's basically going to be the only for the unit that attacks you when you throw the stratagem. So you're not going to be running armor of contempt through the entire phase. It's just going to be just in that portion of the phase. And again, I think that's just a little balancing. It's just different. And I think everybody's going to be used to it in no time whatsoever. So other than that, I'm just going to kind of go down some of I'm going to do the factions in order. They did change the miracle dice. It says basically, if your army faction is Adeptus Sororitas, you gain 1 miracle dice at the start of each battle round. At the end of each phase, if 1 or more Adeptus Sororitas units from your army were destroyed that phase. I think that just tones down the miracle dice just a little bit. I don't know that it really hurts them a whole lot. Of course, if your army kind of leans on miracle dice, then yeah, it's going to hurt. But the army as a general, I think it'll be okay. And then, of course, the Triumph of St. Catherine's Solemn Precision ability says each time you gain a miracle dice at the start of the battle round, this model if this model is on the battlefield, do not roll the dice 6 to determine the value of the miracle dice. It automatically has a value of 6. That, of course, is a bonus, and they kind of got a price hike last time, so I guess it's really worth it. The CP cost of Blazing Ire went up in the the Bringers of Flame detachment. Also, the Cleansing Flame is now 2 CP, and the Rites of Fire stratagem effect, of course, has changed to 6 inches. That's fair. Your Penitent's Host detachment, the only thing that it changes, it says at the start of the battle round, you can select one of your following vows of atonement. I believe it says you must before. Just gives you some options. Custodes data sheets changed. Shield captains and jet bikes went from 7 wounds to 8 wounds. I think that's fair because they're supposed to be pretty tanky. And that definitely works. The shield captain, I'm sorry, that was the shield captain on the Dong Eagle jet bike, not and the jet bikes. I misspoke. So that captain goes from 7 wounds to 8 wounds. He also gets a bump on his salvo launcher. Twin linked, strength 10, minus 3 AP, dice 6 plus 1. I'm not real familiar with Custodes, so I'm not really sure if that went up or down. And then the Praetors went from characteristic toughness 7, 5 wounds. Again, I don't even know anybody that plays Custodes, so I don't really interact with them all that much. I do have to work on that because I really like to have an idea of what else is on there. AdMech, I don't see any changes on AdMech. No, I thought there was one, but I don't think, no, I guess there's not. So they got through pretty unscathed. Eldar, they've got a codex coming out, so I guess I didn't really see anything that kind of changed for them. What else do we have? Lord Astra Militarum, Lord Solus Leonidas. He can issue 3 orders to regiments or squadrons. That's kind of handy. And the precision drop ability on the Aquilons is just brought down to in your movement phase, and they must be 6 inches away. And of course, that goes with that other rule. Blood Angels got nothing. They're perfect. Black Templars. Let's see. You got Crusader melee weapons. Their combat knives have a -1 to armor penetration, and the Black Templars Repulsor Executioner went to 7 infantry. That's weird. I didn't realize they were. Oh, I'll have to double check that. I thought that was. I guess they were 6 before, right? Yeah. All right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Other than that, Lance detachment until your level control. Oh, wait, that's Cast Knights. Sorry, switch factions, and I wasn't even paying attention there. Each model in your start. So the Chaos Knights, the Harbinger Dread ability, which is the faction ability. Each model in your army has this ability. Has the following Dread abilities. Okay. I'm not sure. That must just be a wording change. And then in your movement, the Traitor's Mark Enhancement. In your movement phase, select one enemy within 12 inches of bearer. That one must take a battle shock test. I kind of like that. It gives you. I know a lot of people don't care about battle shock all that much, but when it hits hard. Is what it is. And I did want to kind of put this out here. We're going to really start working on some changes here. We're going to start getting some games in, and we're going to start streaming some games as I get stuff hooked up here. So this, just listen to me blather about rules changes and stuff like that. We're going to get some more games in here. I got some couple friends that are really willing to kind of that are okay with being on screen. So look forward to that. That's going to be a 2025 update. So anybody that's interested in games, and I'm going to try to reach out. We do have like at least one local, like big local group, like 100 and some people in the area. Might reach out to them and see if maybe I can get a couple of them to come on and play games with us, and really try to bump up what goes on here. And maybe if I can do that, if I can just record some games, we can get some games on the channel, and then get it grow, and see what else we can get going on. So anyway, back to Chaos Space Marines. Of course, the Screaming Descent stratagem. You can set up your unit anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 6 inches horizontally. They up that to 9 inches. That's okay, no big deal. One of the biggest and coolest things that I really like that they changed is Predator Annihilators always, whether they're Chaos Space Marines, regular Space Marines, whatever, just the Predator Annihilator, you get to re-roll the damage rolls. So that's kind of handy to get those las cannons more reliable for damage. I'm all about that. Let's see. There's nothing really for demons other than Screamer melee weapons. anti-monster, anti-vehicle 4+, and their weapon skill went to hitting on a 3+. I'm a fan of Screamers, so I'm all about it. Other than that, next off, Dark Angels. Dark Angels actually got a little bit of love in here, and I'm good about that. They're one of my top armies. They're Master Maneuver Detachment, so we're talking inside your Company Hunters Detachment, your Master Maneuver Detachment rule. That gives you, basically they changed it so that mounted units from your army are eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which they advanced or fell back. So now with all your outriders, your invader ATVs, your characters, your Ravenwing characters, whatever else is in there, anything that's got that mounted keyword, they can all advance, shoot, charge, or vice versa. They can fall back and then still shoot and charge. So that's a big bump for them. And the other thing is, if you can take the enhancement for one of the characters, and if you do, you can re-roll advance and charge rolls made for that bearer's unit. So if you put whatever chaplain in there and give him that master maneuver enhancement, he's basically, I believe that's almost the same rule that Samael has. So that's definitely a push in his direction. And get more units to charge forward. The other big thing is, and we'll see later when I get to it, Lionel Johnson's weapon, his sweep weapon, is now 2 damage instead of 1 damage. It should have been all the time. We all know it. So I do appreciate that. And as you see, once we go over the points and stuff like that, he went up quite a bit in points too. So just to get that through, that was not without the cost. Ravenwing Black Knights, their melee weapons got better. They got devastating wounds. It makes them more powerful. I definitely like it. It's the Corvus hammers that they used to have. They didn't really have the separate rules for them. Now they kind of all have them. So I appreciate that. And then Samael, to his Grandmaster Leroy Ravenwing. While this model is leading a unit, that unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. If that unit is already eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced, it gets +1 to those rolls. It's pretty good. I wish they'd update that model though. Never bought that model. And sorry, my little rant. I never bought that model. I never liked the model. I didn't like the way it looked. I hated it when it went to Finecraft. I made my own. I custom my own model. And I play that one all the time. In fact, it's out of reach. But I did craft my own. And I play that one instead because that model has just driven me crazy forever. After that, sorry for the rant. But after that, the Death Guard, the only thing that really changed for them is Mortarion got Deep Strike. He has wings. He should have had Deep Strike all the time. Somebody just got a little bump. I appreciate it. Don't play Death Guard. Would seriously want to paint Mortarion because I think he's an amazing model. But, and of course, they did get the Predator Annihilator new ability, so they get to re-roll those. So I'm a big fan of Predator, so I'm kind of like the fact that they jumped that in there. I definitely appreciate that, and I'm glad they did it across the board and not just to the next new army. All right, Gene Stealer Colts. second. Gene Stealer Colts they got a change in resurgence points. I don't really play them, so I'm going to tell you I don't really know how they work. I know a little bit just from reading, but I've never seen it in practice. That's one of those armies that I definitely want to get some practice in with. And of course, everything got resurgent point changes: aberrants, acolyte, hybrids, jackals, neophytes, pure strains. I read it. I don't understand it, so I'm really not going to try and fake my way through it. Like I said, they're just one of those armies that I just haven't got my head around yet. I don't know anybody that plays them. But the good thing is with all that, a couple things that did upgrade is the Magus does give you 2 additional resurgence points. That's handy. I wonder if they just redid the whole resurgence thing. Maybe I did. If your army, you start the battle, the number of resurgence points in the battle as shown. Yeah, maybe. Again, you have to get with somebody that really plays Gene Stealers so I can understand that. But anyway, yeah, the Magus, the Primus, or the Acolyte Icon Ward. They give you 2 additional resurgence points. As far as the data sheet upgrades, Acolyte hybrids with hand flamers. The demolition charges are 8-inch range now. The Goliath rock grinder demolition charge. Basically the demolition charges went to 8-inch range. I think they were only 6 before. And again, like I don't really play them, so I don't really have a good grasp on them. Nothing for Grey Knights. Everything stayed the same. The Calexis Assassin, they just specified that his etheric emergence is just in your movement phase. So I believe that, from my understanding, is you can't bring him in through rapid ingress. But not too much of a big deal. Okay, Imperial Knights. Doesn't look like anything changed. Leagues of Votann. Nothing really changed. Necrons. The Annihilation Legion detachment. They add the additional paragraph to the Annihilation Protocol detachment rule. Each time a destroyer cult unit from your army makes a ranged attack that targets the closest eligible target, they add 1 to their armor penetration. That's kind of handy for anybody that plays the Annihilation Legion. The Hypercrypt Legion, so they do get hyperphasing detachment rule. Based on table size changed. I'd have to look to see what that was before. But it's changed up to 1, up to 2, or up to 3 Incursion, Strike Force, or Onslaught. Orcs got a quick change in the army rule, and I think that all that does is really sets when you call a WA, which is in your command phase now. And it does last until your next command phase. So I think it was a little wonky when you could claim it. You can claim it whenever, and they didn't really say when it ended. It just said for like the end of the turn or something like that. So they did clarify those rules. And then of course the boss's watch and detachment rule, they specified that same thing, that in your command phase, in a turn in which you have not called a WA, that rule comes up. The hunt is on detachment rule. Of course, included characters with that, but not a big change there. That one's even bigger stratagem. Did add, in addition to your unit being eligible to charge and fall back, or charge in a turn in which it advanced or fell back, you can reroll the charge for your unit. All right. What else do we got here? Oh, sorry. Gaskell's rule updated. I think that was just because the law change. He gets, and if the law is active, oh yeah, so he can only critical hit on a 5+ if the law is active. I think that's kind of the way it was intended. Okay, so now the big one that I wanted to throw on here, and this is something that I actually really like. Some people are kind of jumping up and down, but I do like that they kind of added this separation. The Army rule, the Oath of Moment Army rule for Space Marines. They did add or change the line. So when you use your Oath of Moment, and if you need a quick reminder, if your army faction is Adeptus Astartes, at the start of your command phase, select one unit from your opponent's army. Until the start of your next command phase, that unit is your Oath of Moment target. Each time a model with this ability makes an attack that targets your Oath of Moment target, you can reroll the hit. And this is the change here. If your army does not include a unit with the Black Templars, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Death Watch, or Space Wolves keyword, you can add 1 to the wound roll as well. Thank you for separating Space Marines from the Divergence. I'm a Dark Angels player, and I think this is a fantastic idea. They really needed that little bump to keep them separated, so I'm very glad for that. So I'm glad that you changed that for Oath of Moment. I'm sure they didn't really mention that in the other books, but I think they just kind of, because they didn't say anything about on Blood Angels or Dark Angels. But that's good. I think that's a fantastic. I think it's a nice little upgrade for playing regular Marines. The Space Marine players that I know are certainly going to be excited about it. The Fire Discipline enhancement under the Gladius Task Force just allows you to reroll advance rolls for that unit. I think that works fine. Captain and Gravis armor. I do like that his master-crafted heavy bolt rifle now does 3 damage. I think it's a little weird because I don't know that there's very many bolt type weapons that do flat 3 damage, but I mean, it's certainly incentive to play Captain and Gravis armor now. Darneth Lysander got a change in his inspiring commander section. It says if you include this model in your army until the end of the battle, non-character models in Terminator Assault Squads or Terminator Squads units have objective control characteristic of 2 while they're not battle shocked. And just to go over the same thing, Pharaoh's got the same thing for heavy intercessor squads. Let me see, because I know Cave and Strike did for assault intercessors with jump packs. Khosrow Khan did with outrider squads. They got a bump in objective control. And Pedro Cantor did as well with Sternguard. So if you're playing those, I don't even want to call them Divergent because they're the Codex compliant, not Ultramarines. You kind of got a bump on your preferred squad. So that definitely helps theme them out better if you're going to be using those characters in specific. I mean, Kayvon Strike's going to run with Assault Intercessors with jump packs, I hope. Khosrow Khan's going to have some Outriders, I would hope. Pedro Cantor. He's known for Stern Guard veterans, so it's good that they have a better objective control. I think they're all good. So back to your squads, though. So interesting. Your Ironfather Pharaohs gives you a bump to objective control for heavy intercessor squad, and on top of that, they actually got 2 damage with their heavy bolt rifles, and they don't get the penalties on their heavy bolters anymore. They hit on 3 up as well. I like that. I think it's still kind of weird that the heavy bolter and the bolter are kind of the same in the heavy bolt rifle, or pretty much the same, just the heavy bolter gets an extra attack. Well, they do get sustained hits 1, 2 as well. So that's good. Your Inferno squads, your Pyroblasters have an AP of -1. That works. Your Meteoric Descent kind of got changed to match those rules for the 6-inch, 3-inch drop to 6-inch. So that's good, and it does clarify in your movement phase they get the 6-inch. So from what I'm understanding and from what I'm seeing online, I also believe that part of that is if you do use a rapid ingress, that does not give you your closer range either. I have to see how if somebody else read that the same way, because they did add the in your movement phase when this unit is set up on the battlefield deep strike you can perform, and that you have to be more than 6 inches horizontally away. But that doesn't mean you would be, if you rapid ingress, you would be 6 inches away. There's something to think about. I'm going to have to do some research there. The Inferno squad also get a -1 for the battle shock tests. Your intercessor squads get target elimination. So this is each time this unit is selected to shoot, it can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, add +2 attacks to the characteristics of bolt rifles equipped by models in your unit, and you can only select one enemy unit as target of this unit's attack. So you can't split fire, but you get 2 to the text characteristic of bolt rifles. I mean, hello, intercessors just got certainly better than incursors, or maybe even better than infiltrators, though infiltrators still have the dead zone around them. Of course, the Predator Annihilators got the reroll damage roll. Reavers have a battle shock penalty of 1 with their ability. Terror troops, they lower the objective control characteristics of any enemy units within 3 inches of them. So that's good. They can kind of jump up and be in the face and lower everybody else's objective control. Now, Stern Guard. The nice thing is if you use the Oath of Moment, words are just getting out of my hands. You can re-roll the wound roll, as well as if you're a standard Space Marine, you get +1 to that wound roll. Stern Guard vet squads just got better. Like it. Combat Blades and Knives got updates. Oh, and Vulcan Hastan got that update with the Inferno squads, where they have OC2 as well. I forgot to add that one in there when I did the others. Now for the big boy, Roboot Gilliman. He can now choose 2 of his Author of the Codex abilities in each phase, or in each command phase. So instead of just getting 1 of them, he gets 2. I mean, he was always a force multiplier. That really just bumps him up to be amazing. He did get a point bump as well, but being that you can get 2 of those 3 abilities running all the time, yeah, it's really freaking good. Really good. As far as Space Wolves, all that they got was the Wolf Scouts armor penetration changed on their combat knives. That was another one of those across the board changes. No big deal. Tau's got nothing. No updates. Thousand Suns got updates to the Predators. There's no Predators in my Thousand Suns army anyway, so it doesn't really matter. At least not to me. Tyranids being next. The only thing that they got, sorry, not the only thing. The first thing that they got is feed the swarm detachment rule. In your command phase, each harvester unit in your army can regenerate 1 friendly Tyranid unit that is within 6 inches. And 1 model in that unit regains die 3 plus 1 lost wounds instead of, I think it was just die 3 wounds. And then the Trigon rules changed to the 6-inch as well. Nothing groundbreaking there. World Eaters. They did get the World Eaters Daemon Prince. They got Internal Fortitude ability, which means while a friendly World Eaters infantry unit is within 6 inches of the model, they have a 5+ invulnerable save. Unless they have a 5+ invulnerable save, in which case they have a 4+ invulnerable save. They got the Annihilator update as well. So, that being said, when we roll over to the points, obviously some of those things that got point changes or rules changes got point changes, but the points really didn't change all that much across the board. And I'm just going to hit these real quick. The Castigator for the Adeptus Sororitas went up. The Exorcist went up a few points. 10 points each, I think. Yeah, 10 points each. So that's okay. The Custodes, of course, that Shield Captain on the Dawn Eagle jet bike went up 20 points. Well, he got an extra wound, so. And the Praetors got a bump, so of course they got more points as well. As far as AdMech, or Castellan robots went down 10 points for every 2, so 10 points or 20 points. Those are fantastic models, so I'm glad to see maybe we'll see more of those out there. Eldar didn't change at all, but they got a codex coming soon, so I didn't really expect anything. Astra Militarum, they have a codex coming soon as well. The only thing that I think changed, oh no, they had a lot of changes. The Hellhound went up 10 points. Everything got more expensive. The Cadian Shock Troopers, Catachan Jungle Troopers, and the Chimera all went up points. Leonidas got better rules, so he went up 25 points to 150. And the Tempestus both went up 20 points or 10 points for 5. Both the Aquilans and the Scions. Ogrins went up 10 points for 6 models, but 3 is still 60 points. 6 is 130. Gaunt's Ghost went up 10 points. Seen a lot of people playing them, so I kind of expected that. Repulsors and Repulsor Executioners both went down for the Black Templars. Blood Angels, they did get some point changes, but I don't think anything. Mephiston went up 10 points, but he's a beast, so he kind of deserved it. The real Rage Fueled Warriors and the Liberator Assault Group went up 15 points. That was pretty powerful upgrade, so it went from 10 to 25. But the good thing is, anybody that plays Sanguinary Guard, they went down 5 points for 3, or 10 for 6. Bloodletters got cheaper by 10 points from the demons, but Screamers went up because they got tougher. 10 points for 3, 20 points for 6. Nah, still not a big deal. I Unfortunately, they're expensive. I don't know how many people are actually going to play them, but it is nice to see that they get an improvement. War Dogs for the Chaos Knights went down 5 points, except the Executioners, which went down 10. Chaos Bikers went down 10 points per 6 of them. I haven't seen anybody really play Chaos Bikers. I think there's a couple lists out there that put them out. Lionel Johnson for the Dark Angels went up 30 points. Well, he does more damage now, so got it. No changes in Death Guard. Death Watch. If you have been watching Death Watch, they got an enhancement, or I'm sorry, they got a detachment. And their detachment actually gave them some squads. So, other than that, I want to say hello back to Sori there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking us out. What else we got? Drakari is next. The Void Raven Bomber went up again. I don't know anybody that's playing the Void Raven Bomber. It's way overcosted at this point. Unless there's some secret that somebody's shown me. No, actually, I really stream every other week. We're going to try and get some more. I'm going to try and stream more often and try to stream some games of 40k in. So if you want, pay attention. We're gonna try and try to get some games on, try to get more information. I got a couple players that are gonna jump in here and set the area up and get everything worked up. Grotesque Scourges both went up in points, and the racks went down. Gene Stealer Colts, the Ridge Runners all went up in points. The Abominants went up. We do mostly play 40k. There's a couple other games that I'm involved in. I play Shatterpoint for Star Wars. Like playing some of the other games. I trying to get some people to play some Age of Sigmar. Still have old world stuff that I'd like to jump in on. Grey Knights, the Nemesis Dread Knight, went up a few points, no big deal. Any games that you play? So the Vindicare Assassin went down in points for the Imperial Agents. Actually dropped 25 points. I'm sorry, that should have been Agents of the Imperium. Of course, you could throw them in just about anything. Imperial Knights went down. The Armigers went down in price. Fair enough. Thunderkins went down in price. Well, if you want to watch some games, like I said, starting 2025, which is just around the corner, we're going to try and get some games in. try to get on and watch some stuff. Necrons, all the Catan shards went up. They were pretty tough and pretty prevalent. So they can, going up 10 points isn't going to hurt them. They're right at that 300 mark, 300 point mark. All the Caneptic Wraiths, the Ophidian Destroyers, Necron Warriors all went down in price. Plasmancer went down in price. Ghost Ark went down in price. Necron's got a lot of point changes. I don't think it's going to hurt them too much unless you really play something really Catan shard heavy. What kind of question you got for me? Orcs, the only thing I think changed in Orcs is the War Boss. They went up 10 points. And of course, the Space Marines. There's a lot of stuff that changed in here. The Furnace Squads got more expensive, but they got, not only did they get better armor penetration, they also got that update to the rules for their their Battle Shock rules. The Inceptor squads actually went cheaper in price because they're not as versatile. The Heavy Intercessors went up in price as just a few points, and so did Marnius Calgar. Reavers went up. Euro Ventress went up. And of course, Roboot Gilliman went up 60 points, so he's at 345. So again, that update that I had with between Gilliman and Lion, Gilliman is now more expensive again, but he does get 2 of those author of the Codex, which is very handy. I could consider it if you could send me some information. Scouts went up a little bit, but they did get a bump to those scout squad, the combat knives, and of course Sternguard went up a little bit. They got rules bump for their weapons as well. Space Wolf Scouts went up in price. Wolfen went up in price, just 5 points for 5 and 10 points for 10. And then the Tiger Shark went up in price for Tau. I see there's no changes on the Thousand Suns. Tyranids, the Trigon went down in cost, which is kind of cool because they do have, they did get that pushback. And the Norn Assimilator and Emissary went down 15 points. Yeah, I do have Discord. Send me a link, or send me a link or whatever. Whisper it to me, and I can get with you after I finish here. Tyrant Guard went down a few points. And that's about it. World Eater stayed the same. So that's the big changes. Of course, the big thing is with all that, it does change some of the flexibility, but I don't think anything too big. And then we can, I don't think it's going to change anything too much in any of the games. Obviously, some lists are going to change more than others. So Again, like there's all these different detachments that came out. So we can get more games in. And look, I mean, what it's all about is having more fun, getting more stuff going. So um, I'm just about to the point where I'm going to finish up here. Sora, I'm gonna send you a whisper with that information for Discord, and then we can talk about that. Other than that, um, I want to thank everybody that did come and listen. I know I kind of droll on sometimes, but like I said, we got big things coming on for uh, next year, 2025. I am going to have some of my friends on that are big players in my area, and like I said, a gaming group in this area as well that I kind of want to reach out to and see if I can get more people to play and be involved and what they're looking for on the stream specifically. Um, so what I'm going to do is keep posted. I'm going to try to put an episode out in 2 weeks. That will be the week between Christmas and New Year's. So I know it's going to be kind of a busy week, but it shouldn't be terribly busy. So I'm going to try and get something in and probably do some kind of end of year routine, and then go from there. Other than that, 2025 is going to be a big year, I think. We're just moving forward and onward and just going to try to keep moving up in the world. So, as always, you can reach me here. I'm here Saturday or Sunday on Twitch. This comes up on YouTube on Tuesdays. We're going to kind of push back bounty hunting across the galaxy with Todd and Ken till January, just because the next 2 weeks are kind of going to be really busy. Two kids in high school, middle school, both have concerts, both have end of year stuff going on, the holidays, New Year's, all that. It's going to be a lot. So we are going to get that out, and then we're going to go from there. But like I said, 2025 is going to be huge. So just stay tuned and stay listened, and I'll get with y'all soon. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.